Hello, this is me. There's probably nobody here right now, but I wanted to start this live video just to see how it works. I've never done it before, so this is a test for me. I'm trying to adjust this so I can see what I'm doing. Hopefully you'll be able to see it too. Let's see. I wanted to color this cute image. This is by Penny Black. I got it I bought it at home, Hobby Lobby, and it's a simple image enough to show basic Copic blending, and I hope that some of you are out there and are able to see this. If not, it will be saved so that you can see it later. I am looking at my Facebook page, but I don't see myself, so I was hoping I could see myself doing this video. Oh yeah, I see it. So I am going to go ahead and start coloring. I chose E53, E51, and E50 for her skin, which I don't use very often, but I'm going to use today. And usually I start with the lighter color. I'm sorry, the darkest color, but this time I want to start with the lightest, which will be E50, just so that I could get a good base for the blending. It's sometimes easier when you have some color there to then put some others on top and blend. So, and I hope as I'm doing this, some of you will be notified and you can join in. So usually I like to do my darkest color from the left to the right. So the right being the lightest and the left being the darkest. But you can do it any way you want. So that's E50. Now I'm going to use E51, and I'm going to go over the same place where I put down the lighter one, the lighter color. Then the next one is going to be E53, which is the darkest, and then I'm going to go over part of the color that I just put down with the lighter markers. So I'm not going to put too much, so I don't know if you can see the 3 layers: darkest, medium, and the lightest. Then I'm going to go back with my middle tone, E51, and I am going to pull out some of that darker color I just put down to the center. And I like to sometimes turn my paper, my cardstock, over. So I'm just pulling that color out. Like that. I usually like to go at least twice over the coloring I'm doing. I think it looks better, but sometimes I don't really need to. And again, like I've explained before, I like to start, instead of coming this way, I like to go this way, because the lightest colors sometimes tend to pull color from the darker ones. And I'm not worried about in between the hairs here, because I'm going to cover that with a dark color. So I like that the E53, E51, E52, they blend so beautifully. So you see you have this here, this darker, because that's the shadow that is casting if the sun is coming from this direction. Then, like I said, I sometimes like to do it twice. So I'm going to go back with my E53 and just add a little more there of shading, just to add a little more contrast. She doesn't have a neck that I can see, so I'm not going to worry about that. Don't have to color anything there. I'm going to go back to E51. And I'm going to just touch a little bit of the E53, and I'm going to pull some color out. Sometimes it helps to color in circles. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. And it also depends how much contrast do you want. Sometimes you want it to be soft, sometimes you want it to be more dramatic, more drastic. So on that one, I'm not really happy because it kind of looks like a line. Some people like that, but I don't. So I'm going to extend that darker color out a little more. So I'm sort of flicking it out. I'm back to E53. I'm just sort of flicking that color out a little more. Just to, because her face is so wide. So I'm going back to E51. And like I say, sometimes that's the thing about Copics. You color, and then if you don't like it, you just go back over. You decide you want to extend that color a little more or a little less. It's up to you, because everybody, one of the best advices that I've always received or heard was to find your style. You don't have to color like someone else's style. Just find this, back to E50, the lightest one. Find the way you like it. Of course, learn from the techniques that others have, and then find your own style. Just learn the basics of Copic coloring. That's what I always advise. And then once you learn it, then you can find your own style. So there you can see that's better because her face is so wide. I went ahead and extended that out more, and it looks better. So you can see the contrast. It's like the sun is shining from this side, casting a shadow because of her hair over her face. So this area, of course, will be darker, and then this area will be lightest. That is most exposed to the light, but it's not covered by the hair, if that makes sense. Okay, for the hair, I am going to use C3, C5, and C7, and I may go back and get even C9, which is the darkest. When I color with dark colors, I like to start with the lightest one just in case. And I don't know why the video looks like that, but I'm gonna see if I can turn it. I have the phone in a horizontal way, but it shows different on the computer, but I think you can still see what I'm doing. I'll try it a different way later, but let's just continue. So I'm gonna, you can see already here where they show you that they have some dark areas. That's part of the stamp. So this hair is easy because it already has the lines there. You don't have to worry about figuring out how it's gonna go. So I'm not worried about flicking right now. I'm just pulling some color down as a guide. Usually the hair on top is lighter, but I'm going to create the highlights on the side since the sun is coming this way. So, and then I usually like to go also on the bottom here. Usually this area here is the darkest because that's behind her back. And then here I like to also put some color down, so having an idea of how I want the hair to look. And you can do from here down, or you can do from bottom up. It's up to you. Like I said, find the way that you like to color and you feel more comfortable. Just make sure that you learn the basic ways of blending. Okay, so I'm going to go to the next one, which will be C5. And I am going over the top again. I'm just going over the same area that I went over with the lighted one. Sometimes it's easier, depends on what you're coloring. If you laid out a color first and then go over it with the other one. So And then I'm going to go over here to the back. And that area I'm going to make darker. So here I am flicking up, but I'm not doing super thin flicks because I just want to make this just a demonstration of how to blend. So you see the hair is taking shape. Now I'm going to go with my darkest, and it's C7. So this one, I'm going to go again, just over the same areas that I did with the lighter markers. But remember, when you use the darker color, you want to do less of the darker one, unless you want really, really dark hair with a very small highlight. Okay, now this area here is going to be dark, and I may go back and get an even darker marker because I want this here to stand out as being a shadow under her hair. Or I could just do some flicks, play around with my flicks, or I could just do some basic blending. But my idea today was mainly to show you how to blend. So here I go again, here under the flower there. So I like to do it from the bottom up. That way I don't touch that flower too. Okay. Then here I may want to have a little touch of dark because the hair is hiding behind the flower, and that also creates a shadow. Okay, maybe here just a tiny bit. Let's see, my marker is so juicy, has a lot of ink, so it tends to sometimes release a little too much ink. So I have to be careful, I have to be quick. All right. Now I'm going to go back with my C5 and I'm going to go over the black, not all the way from the top, just to pull some of that color out. And I'm going to leave, sorry if my table is moving. And then here I'm just going to go over the black, and I'm not going to touch that area there because it's going to stay dark. Okay. Then I'm going to go with my lightest, and I am going to, again, I like to do zigzag very gently because I don't want to lose those flicks that I just did. They're very simple flicks, but they're flicks, so I want to keep them. And I purposely left this one here a little lighter so that you could see the definition or the difference between this area here that's hidden behind her head. So, okay. And then this area here, I know I went a little over too much on the front. I was planning to do that darker, but maybe I'll extend the color just a little more. It depends. Okay. So here I'm just going to pull a little bit of that color out. So you can see this is very simple, very basic. Like I said, I like to do it twice. Maybe make this a little darker, maybe a little lighter here and there. So I'm going to go back with my C7 and play around with it just a little more until I'm happy with it. So maybe I'll extend that dark color just a little more. And maybe here, just a little farther up. So she doesn't look like an old lady because she's got so much gray hair. And then here in the bottom, I have to be careful because I don't have as much room. And maybe just even this out here a little more so it doesn't look weird. So like I said, play around with it and see, kind of stand back and look at it. Where else do I want to add light or dark? And see what looks better. Just be careful not to overdo it, which I sometimes do, guilty on that count. And turn the paper. I like to sometimes turn the paper. I want to extend this out a little more. I think I'm liking that a little better because I have a little less gray. And then I go with my lightest color. Sorry that my hand gets there in the way sometimes. Then with the lightest color, C3, I'm just gonna go over some of the areas again. Maybe I can disguise the fact that I went with the skin color a little too much. You can always correct that with the colorless blender and try to erase some of that color off the forehead there. So I'm just doing a little here and there just to make sure it looks right. And here as well, on the bottom, to make sure it's well balanced. And that's basically what I'm going to do to this cutie image here. Again, this is a penny black image, and I could have colored the rest, you know, her hands, but I just wanted to give you a demonstration on the face and the hair. And I hope that now that I'm testing it out with you guys here in private, nobody else knows about it, I know what to do, and I can do an announcement and let you know when my next video will be so that everyone can join in, and hopefully you can join me with your coloring as well. But we all would need to have like a common type of image so that we all can color the same thing. I'll see what I can do about that. But thank you for allowing me this time, and I hope I wasn't too boring and that you learned something from it, and that you join me in the future for an actual color in together with me live video. Okay? Have a great day.